Right, so guys, we're on episode 4 now. Again, welcome to the We Know Nothing show. A little bit of a twist tonight, as we said. We were umming and ahhing whether to carry it on, but we've decided to make a go of it and just talk about all football-related situations, topics, whatever you want to include in the football world. Tonight, we've got a special guest all the way over from New York City via Zoom in his important boardroom. We've got the one and only Daniel Jackson on the call to talk all topics tonight. I think we're going to be discussing the Mighty Clarets tonight, which is good. All three Burnley fans, so it'd be good to get his opinion on this. So like I always say, guys, I know I probably bore you with the last statement on this, but literally, it's just people coming on, having a laugh, a bit of banter, talking about something that we absolutely know bollocks about, and just getting on with everyone. And just, any feedback obviously is appreciated, but let's try and keep it to constructive. All right, guys. So yeah, here we go. Enjoy. Let's have it.
So welcome, DJ. So we've known each other for a long time now, the three of us, and we've had some. We've been together, then we've been far away, and football-wise, we've enjoyed it. But DJ, you've started your own business recently. I don't know too much about it. Obviously, you can see it his name is there. It's a PIA Financial Solutions. And just from seeing the feedback that you're getting, it's unbelievable, and it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job. I'll let you have a little plug of your own little business, and then when we do bang it up on everywhere, we'll plug it on there as well. So have a little chat away, mate, if you fancy it.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. But yeah, I started self-employed as a mortgage protection advisor. I'm in my third year now, so doing well. Got a new office space, as you can see, in the Colne town centre. And yeah, the feedback's great. I love what I do as a job. Before then, I was at Santander in financial services for 10 years. So I've got that background, that knowledge. But yeah, to run my own business and be my own boss is that little bit extra special. So yeah, I love what I do. Don't want to plug it too much, but as a mortgage and protection advisor, I help first-time buyers, home movers, and people with existing mortgage deals to see if we can save them some money. So, but yeah, that's my main role really. And behind the scenes, as you've mentioned, we've been friends a long time, and I love my football. That's my main hobby: playing, watching. So yeah, when I'm not in the office, that's what I'm doing. So it's great.
So guys, when you watch this back, we'll put a link in below to DJ's Facebook page, and you can have a look at the fantastic feedback that he's been getting there, because it is phenomenal. Even
I appreciate
today.
That. Thank you.
So anyway, we're going to talk football now, and we're going to talk Burnley because we're all pretty big Burnley fans. So what do you guys think to the way that was shaping up or not shaping up, as the case may be, for the new season?
I think from like you say, being a Burnley fan for all these years now, I think notoriously we're always sort of slow starters, in the sense of we always seem to be sort of behind the chasing group. I mean, what I would say, I think the biggest difference between a lot of seasons and this season is that you're hearing so much about what the club's doing. You're hearing what changes are being made around the stadium. You're hearing about, obviously, internal changes and everything, what's going on. There's a lot of hype around the club at the minute, obviously with the takeover, happened and stuff. And I think the fact that we've got 2 players on board at the moment, in the sense of transfers, I think it's, it's encouraging in the sense of we're predominantly slow starters, aren't we, realistically? But to have 2 what I think will be quality players for us, I think it's encouraging. But yeah, I mean, from my point of view, like especially with you two there, like we must have done this 1,000 times before, but not obviously recorded and not put it on a podcast. And now we've got something to sort of grasp hold of. I suppose we've got something tangible in the sense of we've got a chairman that is going to. I think he's going to back him. My only concern is that we go for the right caliber of player. It's clear to see now that we've got the keepers sorted.
Yeah,
I think we've got the defenders sorted. I think the only thing I would like to see defence-wise is a right back. But then I think we need some. I think personally we need some quality going forward. Now we need some pace in that team because the wingers you can't. I think we've only got 2 senior wingers on the books, and that's good, Joey and Dwight, because obviously Brady's gone and things like that. So I do think we need something in that area. I know we've been linked with a couple of wingers recently. We were linked with that Max Cornet from Leon. I don't think that's a non-starter, and I think we've been linked with Albrighton from Leicester. Now Albrighton for me is a solid pro, but he's what Albrighton is a darts kind of player, innit? He'll run all day and stuff. But he doesn't have that quality that I think we need. I think we need someone who's going to pick ball up and get excited about him picking the ball up. He's going to try and do something. Like Josh King going to Watford. I wouldn't have minded just taking a punt on Josh King and playing him on right hand side and maybe just seeing what he can do for us. Ashley Young, he only chose Aston Villa because he wanted to finish his career back at Villa. We offered him the same wage as Villa, so that was encouraging. That's what I like. But from looking at it from last season, what we really struggled with some of the games is getting out. And yourself, both we've played for years, haven't we? The best thing about getting out is pacing to corners or getting someone on the ball and running with the ball and carrying you forward, carrying your team forward. So that for me, I think it's a positive start in the sense of we are going into the last week in July next week, and we have got 2 players on the books, and there is a lot of murmurs about what's going on in the background. So
we are only 3 weeks from start of season, though, aren't we? 3 weeks from kickoff.
I don't think he was going to make wholesale changes where he's not. There's no chance. I mean, we know Wood's not going to be there. I think Wood's going to miss 1 game. I think he'll miss the first game, or maybe the second one as well. So that frees up that sort of. Does he go with 1? And play someone behind him? Does he go with 2 and bring Jo and Barnes back into the fold with Vidra? Because Vidra has to start because of his finish to the season. But yeah, I mean, like, what do you two think? Like transfer wise, are you happy with Collins and Hennessy? Do you think we should be doing more? Are we doing more and we don't see it, or what do you think?
I'll let Deej go on that.
Yeah, I'm happy. Following on from what Mark said, I think we've signed players that are key in the right areas. If you think back to the beginning of last season when either Tarky or Ben Mee were missing injuries, I personally didn't think Kevin Long or Jimmy Dunn were good enough.
We let Gibson go out at that point as well already, haven't we?
Yeah,
Gibson
we did,
was out at that point as well. So it showed a weakness in that category. So if Nathan Collins is a good follow-up, if either of those 2 aren't ready for the start of the season or during the season, I think that's great. And the same with Hennessy. Dash has clearly seen an issue with the reserve goalkeepers in Bailey Peacock Farrell. I think he's on his way. And Will Norris had a go at the end of the season, and you could see he's
just young lads still, though,
not
aren't
up
they,
to that standard. Sorry?
They're just young lads at the minute, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, of course they are. But I think it's been seen that they're just not to that level. It's not their fault, but you could see. So yeah, I'm encouraged by the signings, but following on from what Mark said, I'm always pessimistic year on year because I want a marquee signing or something that will excite me to go on the turf, someone that can create something out of nothing, take on the full back, or spring a pass that opens that defence up. And I've not been excited about signing probably since Stephen Defoe, and that was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
He could spot a pass, he excited you. And yeah, I'm sorry to say over the last few years, I can't think of one signing that's made me go, brilliant, I can't wait to see him in action. And that's a little bit sad. But I do think the 2 signings are good. Alan Pace clearly wants to back the manager. Let's hope he gets someone in as soon as possible. I again would like a winger. Because we can't have the fact that if Gudmundson's out, we can't have Brownhill playing out wide. You just can't. He works hard, but he's not a winger.
He tucks in too much, doesn't he?
Years ago, and you know how that turned out. He wasn't a winger either.
I think that's like when we were playing. when we were at Borrowdale and stuff. I think that would be like us putting Youngie out on right hand side because he's got the work ethic. He's got the work ethic.
He were better,
but he
than
wouldn't. No, but that's the thing, though, isn't it? But like you say, though, I going on your point there, DJ, I think you've made a fantastic point, and Youngie, you will probably back this up as well. We've not kicked on, I don't think, from signing Defoe. Defoe should have been the launch pad to go into that European market to get a player of Stephen Defoe's quality. I thought it were wind up. I were at work and I got a message from him. Someone said, "Can't believe you boys would sign Stephen Defoe for 8 million." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, pull the other one." And we had him 8 million. 8 million is an absolute snip for a quality player. Like Stephen Defoe has been my favourite player down at that turf because he was the best player I've seen, hands down, because he was unbelievable. And I don't think we've kicked on from that.
No, you're right. I think we were a little bit killed with how long it took for the takeover to happen. So the previous owners didn't want to spend any money, and the new owners weren't going to say how they were going to get the money to spend the money. So I think we were killed in the water for at least a season with that. And then, we had Dwight McNeil come through the ranks, and not necessarily through the ranks, but he'd come as a younger lad and then built up and then came in the first team. And he was a bit of a breath of fresh air for the club, to be honest. Arguably, he's been a bit run into the ground this last season, and he struggled. So hopefully he's had some downtime in this pre-season, not going to international duties, and he can come back all guns blazing. Excuse me. Can we see anybody going out the door?
I can see.
Just opened the window.
What's that sound? It sounds like.
Oh, hang on.
Sounds like a plane's coming into your bedroom.
Yeah. I was just putting it fan on because I'm starting to look resemblance of the Wizard of Oz witch in a minute. No, I still think personally, that we could lose Tarky. I think one of my good mates, Jack, who I knock about with, he thinks that what we'll do is we'll keep Tarky and not make, and there's no point in making. We won't make any money on him because he's in his last year of his deal, and if we sell him for say less than 20 million, Brentford have got a sell-on clause on it as well. So we're probably only going to get back what we paid for him. So we're not going to really make any money on him. So I think there's the possibility that he could run his contract down and go next year on a free transfer. However, I still think that James Tarkowski, there's a massive possibility if we go and sign, with rumours that I'm hearing, because that Kier has gone to Brentford. If we go and sign, apparently that's now opened the door for Joe Worrell from Nottingham Forest because they were linked with him. So because they've gone down that route now, I think we've been linked with Worrell again. So I'm a firm believer if we get Joe Worrell in, I think that could spell that we could be losing Tarky because he's not going to sign two centre halves. I don't think Nathan Collins and Joe Worrell, especially because they've had the first team experience at Stoke and Nottingham Forest respectively. I don't think they're going to come. They're going to want the experience, of course, because they're going to play in Premier League football. But I do think we could still lose Tarky. I think that's the only one. I don't think Pope will go.
Pope's not going anywhere. What about McNeil? He's been linked with Villa and Everton at the minute for around about 25 to 30 million.
What do you think, though, with that younger?
I don't think that's enough for him, for me, to be honest. I think his first season was a breakout season, and he was fantastic. And then, it was hit and miss last year. But I still think at his age and what he's still got to offer, you won't be accepting 25 million from them for him. No. Really. I would want to keep him all ends up. 25 million is not enough to go and buy someone of his quality.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
His age and his quality.
Yeah.
Chris Wood's obviously been linked with the door a couple of times as well. They're the two players for me that you just don't want to lose. I think we can lose Tarks and fill that position by bringing in, like you say, Worrell. We've already got Collis in. But, we can potentially lose him because for me, the mainstay centre half is Ben Mee.
Yeah.
he don't necessarily get the credit that he deserves week in, week out. And when Tarks goes away and Ben Mee has somebody alongside him, it's still a stable defence. But when it's the other way around, we always seem to have a dip in form. But he is the club captain and everything. So when the club captain's missing from any teams, it has an effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. DJ, what do you think?
In terms of outgoings, I think, well, I mentioned Bailey Peacock Farrell, he's going to go.
Yeah.
Young lad Josh Benson, I think will be out the door for some first team football. I don't think Torquay will go. I think there's been enough links over the past year that made me think he could have gone then. If the likes of Leicester and West Ham wanted to stump up the cash for a centre half, they would have done.
Last year,
just the season just gone. I think they would have done it. It hasn't happened, so I don't think he'll go. Whether or not it's a good idea to let him go on a free, I'm not sure on that.
Could we see him re-sign a new contract though? Like if his football,
very dependent on how we do this season.
Yeah, if we make some nice signings and we do okay, then we push on again.
Yeah, because he's going to want that. Yeah, you're going to want that.
In terms of his ambitions for an international call-up, it's sad to say he does need to move on. He's not getting a look in at Burnley, which is a shame because he had, to me, arguably his best season last season.
He had the third best stats as an English centre half last season.
Yeah, so that's something that's a bit bizarre to me. Why Southgate didn't look at him further unless something went on at the England camps. I'm not sure, but overall he had a cracking season. I'd be sad to see him go. I can't see Dwight McNeil going either. And like Youngie said, if he does go, it has to be for much more money than 25 million plus, I'd say, because he is a future prospect. He does well for the under 20s, under 21s for England. Hit and miss season last season, but he's young. Everyone has dips in the form, and he can only get better. But
we're in that position though now as well.
I think
we're in that position though now, aren't we? Where we've got somebody that's running the club that's got a bit of money and wants to put it in. So we're not in that where we've been before. The likes of Jay Rodriguez has come through, and then you've got to go out a door, mate, because we need some money.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we've always done quite well because then we've fetched in the likes of Andre Gray and Charlie Austin, and then again move them on for the right amount of money. And I think we've done well keeping Chris Wood for this long, I would say, because he's been arguably our form player. Even when you think, oh my God, he looks like a donkey at times, he then scores a worldie and goes on a run of form of 4 or 5 games in a row.
He does. When he got injured middle of last season and came back, he kind of got the kick up the arse that we needed, because beforehand, if you remember, he was absolutely awful. Whatever strike partner pairing he had, he weren't good at all.
No,
people have short memories in terms of that. But when he came back from injury, he had that kick up arse, and he became our top goal scorer again for what was it, fourth season running. That
10 plus goals.
That's credit to him. But again, will he do it for a 5th season running? He might, but he's going to need the help around him to.
He's already scored at the Olympics, those goals, if that helps.
Yeah, he scored today.
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that. He went to an opposition player to shake his hand at the end, didn't he? And the opposition players went, this was like, well, let's go the winner, just be more polite than that. I think he's doing well in it.
I think the biggest point of that, what we've all just made, is that we're a completely different club now, in the sense of we're not a selling club anymore, and the positivity of what Dart said towards the end of last season when he was talking about the likes of Torquay leaving, Pope, Dwight, even Charlie Taylor, we're putting that forefront, because week in, week out, sort of these perceived players are our top performers in that point of view. But Dart's just come out and he said, look, we have the finances now. We're not what we were 3-4 years ago. We're not a selling club. So if they want to come and get the players, they have to stump up the cash. And I think the biggest trick we're missing here, I think me and Youngie said this numerous times. If you're looking at the likes of like that Ben White, for instance, Ben White is going to Arsenal for 50 million, right? Aaron Ramsdale is going to Arsenal for 32 million, according to reports, right? Aaron Ramsdale got relegated last season
3 times.
3 times. 3 times, exactly. I was just going to say that. It's Arsenal are the mould of a club where you do not follow for transfers. Why would you pay 32 million for a keeper that I don't rate? I think he's not great. I prefer Leno, if I'm going to be honest with you. And Leno's a decent keeper. He's not a bad keeper. But I think we're at a completely different mindset now. And it's positive from being a Burnley fan, because we know that we're not going into season thinking, oh shit, we're going to lose this and this for pittance, and then we're going to have to scrape the bargain bucket to try and find that gem like we did for a few seasons with Austin, Danny Ings, Andre Gray, them kind of Michael Keane, them kind of players. But yeah, I think from my point of view, it's exciting. It's good to see that we're not where we were, and I think Youngie, you've nailed it with the fact that you've got a chairman that wants to throw money at us now and wants to back us. And what you said about Mark Rigg and not Mark Rigg, the other guy who chairman, Garlic, were it Mark Garlic or whoever his name were?
Garlic.
I think you were spot on with that. Saying he didn't want to pump any money into the club, because the more money he pumped, if he'd agreed to sell for 115 million and say like he put 30 million extra into that club, he weren't going to get that 30 million back, because the deal had already been agreed for that set price. So he's not going to get any money that he spent. He weren't going to get back. So I get he was in a rock between our place, but yeah, it's exciting.
So my next thing I've got down is, obviously, we do need some new faces. We've obviously got the 2 in, and one's Hennessy, who's vastly experienced. I've put down that I believe we need a winger, a striker, and another centre midfielder for me. What do you think on positions? I would say 100% winger is the main, but obviously, I put the other 2 positions down because I feel we should strengthen in them areas. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Right winger all day. Like I said before, I don't want to see Brownhill out wide.
Yeah.
I don't want to see centre midfielders playing out of position. I don't think that's right. Of the signings that I wanted, as opposed to a Dash type signing, you look at the likes of the Crystal Palace list, intrigued me a little bit. Yeah, and Josh Townsend would have been a lot of money, but he was quality. Damari Gray. I've always liked Damari Gray. I don't know why. You're shaking your head.
No. I'm shaking my head at the fact that we didn't even bother going for him, and he was a steal for everything.
Everton for like 1.2 million.
Yeah, exactly what we're coming for. So there's something not right there. And Josh Townsend's gone on a free. Granted, he'll have been on mega money, but something like that would have. I don't know. He'd work hard. He'd excite me a little bit on the wings. Damari Gray, 1.6 million, baffling. I'm not sure.
He only went to Leverkusen. He only went to Leverkusen for 3.2 million. So they've made a loss on him.
Yeah, but they're the types of players that I'd like to see, and it's totally different to what Sean Dash wants in his mould. He wants hardworking grafters, and that's fine having 11 grafters on the pitch. But at times where shit hits the fan and the game is not going your way, you need something that'll just spark the team into life and get a goal back or get 1-0 up.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what Vidra brought towards the end of the season. He managed to change his game ever so slightly, and then
he did.
He worked in the channel, and as soon as he got it, he was like, I'm turning here. Instead of trying to pass it out wide, I'm turning and I'm going to run at you. Yeah. And it worked 3 or 4 times where he ran at the man, ducked past him and it won. And
we created more chances with him up front. He was, we didn't have the 2, 6 foot plus strikers up front just standing there
doing
waiting
nothing.
for the long ball to be received. He gave something an option. He was making defenders think, which is what you need. And in terms of the signings we need, so the right winger situation, centre midfield, to a certain extent we do need, but it has to be a creative one. We've got a lot of workhorses in Cork, Westwood, Brownhill, and you forget Dale Stevens, but I think that's a good thing to forget, if I'm honest, because he signed for what, pittance, and he's worth pittance.
Dale Stevens,
he's a good footballer, so I hope he has a good pre-season and he can come and refresh his career again, because
he was a signing that potentially could have been done about 4 or 5 years ago, and that would have been
absolutely
at that time.
Yeah.
So we signed him a bit too late. What do you say, Youngie? Another striker?
Striker potentially, yeah, because you know,
I'd agree.
Barnes, you know, they're all slightly getting on a bit. Barnes's game is sort of being done now. We know he's going to put his weight around. We know he's going to bully people as much as he can.
Yeah,
but there's only so long that game's going to work for you before you
get found out,
giving you things, and you get found out. And
I said that. I remember coming off one game at Old Trafford. I said, Mark knows my feelings about Ashley Barnes. And
say it, mate. It's an open forum, and he's not going to come and shout you.
I think he might. I think we got beat 3-1. I said to a fan, I said, Ashley Barnes was fucking awful again. So predictable. And this 20-year-old went, oh my God, he's the best striker we've got. He gets himself around the pitch and he wins free kicks. And I'm like, yeah, but fuck me, we need something more than that. And he just frustrates me. He tries to win free kicks too. Even refs aren't falling for it anymore. I'd say 2 or 3 years ago, refs were falling for these clumsy, fouls that weren't even fouls, if you will. And now we were trying to do it this last season, and he just looked
at plant pot. He just looks stupid for me, and I agree with you.
I've not been a fan of his for a while, but I think now is the time to move him on to maybe the Dog and Duck Sunday League down Brighton way. If he can play down there, that'd be great. That's a great standard for him.
I agree.
For me,
I agree.
What's he scored? 3 goals last season.
He was injured quite a bit, but I agree with you boys.
But again,
it's time for him to be on his bike, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Seen a bit.
Dash was so loyal to that front two of Wood and Barnes for so long.
Yeah,
and I said to him, "This is frustrating me. This," and it took them to get injured to change it and Jay to have a run out.
Yeah,
and made us think, well, actually,
Barnes. I forgot about Jay. To be honest, he wasn't at it last year, was he? Really?
No, he wasn't. He struggled. He was in and out of the side. Hopefully, he'll have a good pre-season and go again. But I do think we need another shark here.
What my concern is, and this is my biggest concern, just to kind of wrap this bit up, because I know I like to waffle on a bit, don't I? So for me, I agree. I'd love to see a striker come in and take Barnes' place and get ship Barnes out. Centre midfielder, I'd be looking for creativity. I wouldn't mind taking a punt on a player like Harry Wilson or someone like that, who cost about 10 million, I think, and just get him in amongst that middle bit. Dale Stevens spent more time last season tying his lace than he did playing football. Centre half wise, I would like to see a hybrid centre half. I'd like to see a centre half who can play right back as well. So we've covered 2 positions in that sense. My biggest concern that I've got about us is that we're going to end up doing a Bournemouth, and we're going to get found out, and it's going to show big time. I think the only thing that's going for us this season is the teams that have come up. I don't think the teams that have come up will be there at the end of the season. But my biggest concern is that we're going to get found out. One season is going to be a season where we get absolutely found out, and then my concern is that because of the kind of players we sign, like DJ's made, and you've made the point, Youngie, about he wants them grafted. He wants lads who are going to run through brick walls for him. That will only get you so far in this Premier League. You need that quality. You need someone to be picking that ball up and beating a couple of players and putting it in top bins and stuff. But yeah, I agree. I think we do need a little bit more. But 3 weeks away from start against Brighton, and then let's see where we are then.
Yeah, right. So I've got 2 questions left. where do we finish? What's your predictions for where we finish this year in the league? Just on what we know now. We know not signings, no nothing. Just where we are at the minute. Where do we finish?
16th.
Yeah, I was going to say 16th or 17th. I can't see with the current squad that it is at the minute. Yeah, I think we'll be around that mark.
And as long as we stay above that relegation zone, I'm not right fussed as long as we stay above that relegation. What do you think, Younger?
I think it's going to be touch and go relegation zone. Like I just with the team that we've got and the recruitment that we've done already, I just don't feel we've done enough at the minute. And I really don't want to be like that because they're my club, and
of course,
there's like things that we've wanted to see in football, and playing in the Premier League's the one of them, and hopefully getting to see and playing in Europe, and then from there seeing England make a final, but also then win one would be fantastic. But I really hate the staying in the Premier League each season.
Yeah.
I'd like a mid-table finish, if I was perfectly honest, a nice mid-table finish. But I think we probably, to get that, I think we need another 5 people in the door. And that's just being realistic, because you need to strengthen your bench. You can't do what Dyche did a couple of years ago, where we almost went without making a substitution, and you're praying like, bring somebody on. It's 60 minutes ago and we're shit.
My mate always says to me about that if we sign Lionel Messi, he'd be on the bench for the first 6 months under Dyche because we won't see him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was just going to say to you. That's what I was just going to say then. These players that are coming in, will they be Dyche fit? Will they be able to cope with the demands what Dyche expects the lads to run and stuff, the distance and stuff?
That's the thing with Dale Stephens, isn't it?
I just don't think he had the quality though.
Come in and right at the very start of the season, did he?
Well, we'll see, won't we, with him, because he's going to have a full pre-season with us. So fingers crossed. If he does all right, I'll put his name on back at shirt.
We've got our predictions: 2 16ths and a scrappy keep just out of relegation from me. Last question. So not stupid answers for this, but if you could sign anybody with Burnley's current money, so you can't, I want Ronaldo and Messi, who would you sign?
With our money at the moment,
somebody that's realistically going to come into your team and make a difference with our money at the moment.
I would have. I'd like to get Harry Wilson in. I think he'd be half decent for us. I wouldn't have. I like the lad at what's his name? What's the lad called at Brighton? Plays up top.
Brighton.
French lad.
Morpay.
Yeah.
Morpay. Would you?
Yeah. I like Morpay because he's Morpay reminds me. He's a bit like Chris Wood, and he's a bit like Vidra in one. He's a bit of a shithouse as well, and I think that's what you need with strikers as well. You got?
Well, I mentioned my signings that I would have liked, and they've gone elsewhere. So it leaves me a bit stuck for options, really. I've always been a fan of the lower Championship players. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of Blackburn fans. I know it's sad to say, but they were saying how well Alan Armstrong did up front last year. How well he did.
He was linked with quite a few places as well, wasn't he? But he
he was linked with us at one point as well. I
think a little bit that he's come on well. I mean, it'd be obviously a big miss for Rovers if he came to ourselves. I was a big fan of Tom Kearney before at Fulham.
Yeah.
But no, like I say, all those signings that I'd like have
moved
gone
already.
And Josh Townsend, Damari Gray, Josh King that Mark mentioned. We could have put a punt on him. And Ashley Young. I wouldn't have minded signing him, to be fair, because he's quite versatile. But my signings are completely different to what Dyche wants, so it doesn't really matter what I want.
Right, lads. Well, I think
how about you, son?
Oh, me. So
Come on, son.
I don't know really, to be honest. I quite like Deej said, I would have liked to have fetched a couple of them in, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damari Gray going for 1.6 million, it would have been ideal. And like you say, he's not a Dutch player, but it would have been ideal. We've got like a minute and 20 seconds left before we get cut off, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. Anybody at the minute. We need 5 players for me. So yeah.
Well, I'm available. I'm available. You're available.
I'm a bit
DJ's available.
overweight, mate. Probably not going to be able to run around that.
Wait, 100% weight.
I'm not that dash mold, mate. No.
I'm going to say we're 100% not dash fit. Yeah, we're not dash fit.
I'm dash fat.
Dash fat. Right then, boys, I think we'll wrap it up there because we've not got long left before we get cut off. So, Deej, thanks very much for coming on. It's been
no problem.
Great. I'm sure we'll try and have you back somewhere during the season as well.
Cool, love it.
And we'll have an update on it. Mark, as always, thanks very much.
You get again. Thanks for being the hostess with the mostess. Pleasure seeing your beautiful smile on the camera. So yeah, nice one, Paul.
See you later, boys.
Yeah, take care, lads. See you later.
See ya.
Bye. Bye.